Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner. Unfiltered commentary. And not your truth, the real truth. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for your support. Welcome back. Got a few clips here from news clips as well as our stunning Mensa members in Washington concerning the on-again, off-again border crisis. One day it's a crisis, one day it's not. One day we're overwhelmed. One day is Trump's immigration policy sucks. One is the Biden immigration plan is just starting to work. Depends on what day. So we're going to start off with the head of Homeland Security because I thought that would be proper. I have to say, those younger people out there won't know what the Peter principle is, but you older ones will. Basically, it's a level of incompetency rises higher and higher. Now, I'm beginning to think that everyone here that's doing these major policy deals, i.e. immigration in this case, are incredibly inept and stupid, or this is exactly what they want to happen. That's their plan. Now, you're going to see, I forgot the gentleman's name here. He is the head of Homeland Security. And you're going to see him in the very last clip sitting next to someone that you'll all recognize. And what that person says will make your head explode. So let's listen a little bit and comment along the way. I'm sure I'll have my 2 cents to say.
Congressman, as I mentioned,
is your plan failing?
no, it is not.
Do the results that you're seeing and their magnitude suggest to you that your plan is wrong, that your plan is ill-conceived and is plunging the nation into a crisis?
No, we have not seen before such a rapid migration, irregular migration of individuals as we have observed and experienced with respect to the Haitians who've crossed the border in Del Rio, Texas. That has been an unprecedented speed.
No, that is the major flaw. I should say it's a gigantic flaw in the progressive leftist mentality. Prime Minister Trudeau, who they just reelected in Canada, God knows why, he's a classic example of it. Their ideology says if we want to do this to help somebody, it'll have this result and no other. And if it doesn't go the way we want it to, it's not the plan's fault. It's never the plan's fault. It's always some outside undetermined factor. The chances of you having a major policy implementation and going exactly where you want it to do and go is damn near zero. But the problem is, these people can't see past that. They won't look and see, okay, what could be the worst case scenario? That never, ever comes into their mind.
Hey, thanks, Jen. Follow up on immigration that went on the schedule today. So Secretary Mayorkas has now been asked twice on the Hill, and he's not been able to provide an answer to this. So I want to ask you, do you have the numbers? How many patients have been deported? How many have been processed? And how many have been allowed to stay in the United States?
I certainly understand why you're asking and understand why people have been asking Secretary Mayorkas. Those are numbers that are the Department of Homeland Security would have the most up-to-date numbers.
But why is it so hard to keep track of a simple number like that? Why can't you give it? Why can't he give it? It's been 2 days now he's been asked.
I'm certain they will provide it. It's an absolutely fair question to ask, and I'm certain he just wanted to have the most up-to-date numbers to provide.
No. How patronizing was that? I'm not sure he wants to have the update numbers. The head of Homeland Security texts the White House, maybe multiple texts, call it a CC or a mailing list for your text. Jen Psaki for Mr. Mayorkas, Department of Homeland Security. This number may change. This number may be higher, may be lower, but currently we have 538,212. You know why they don't want to tell you the number? Because they're scared to death to tell you. There's some people that have leaked out now. I don't like anonymous sources and leaks. I didn't like them that did it against Trump. But we're talking 600,000 people. 600,000 people. That's 10,000 people plus per state. Maybe somebody could figure it out. If a person stands there with their arms outstretched, what would that be, 5 feet? I wonder how many miles 600,000 people times 5 feet is. I don't know how many feet are in a mile offhand. I'll bet you might stretch across the country. That's how crazy this is. But this is their plan. You're going to see in the very end. This has always been their plan. It looks like chaos. It looks like they're effing up. But when the doors are shut and the cameras are off, maybe when the cameras are on sometimes now, they're not hiding it. They are delighted about what's going on. This is going exactly as planned for them.
So touching on the border real quickly, I mean, looking at the numbers we have, you're no longer, or the administration's line is no longer that this is seasonal, increases, right? I mean, we're at structurally different numbers coming across, correct?
Yes.
Reverend Al Sharpton is going to the border tomorrow to see what that looks like. If people are actually being able to get asylum, who's here.
Now, who the hell is Al Sharpton to go down to make sure that people are getting asylum? Sharpton is a major. He really is. He truly is. I mean, what a piece of. This guy is such a race hustler, and he's extremely successful at it, has millions. So you know what? Maybe I'm the dummy. Maybe I'm the one that should pretend to help non-white people, screw them over, and make a bunch of money and go into my beautiful new house. Maybe I'm the idiot. But Al Sharpton, I'm not going to say reverend. He's not really a reverend. Let's cut through the crap. He's going to save the day. Well, the fact of the matter is this. If you're coming here from another country because of economic hardship, that is not a criteria for asylum. Never was, never will be, at least not on paper by law. Just because you're low income or poor, I'm sorry. I wish things were better for you. I really do. We cannot take everybody here. In the world, we take in more refugees of all races, more than anyone in the world. 1 million per year. And that's under the legal. That's under the legal laws that we have. That's not counting the ones that cross the border unlawfully. 600,000. Unbelievable.
Has President Biden ever been to the southern border?
In his life?
Yes.
I will have to look back in my history books and check the times he's been to the southern
We
border.
have been looking all morning, and we cannot find any record of him visiting the border as president, vice president, senator, or even as a concerned citizen. Why would that be?
I can check and see when the last time or when he may have been.
At today's
Why hasn't it been on the southern border? Because you can't get a decent photo op out of it. It's not a good photo op topic or location. It's always a cluster blank there. Why would you want a photo op with that? You can cause chaos and not see it. Unbelievable. What you would think, though, honestly, that he was senator for 100 years? Vice president for 8? He's never been on the border once under that capacity. I think he was a congressman for a short time, too. Of course, Delaware's not much bigger than the county I live in here in upstate New York, but even still, that surprises me.
crisis at the border than we've had in recent days, and it's not clear how much of a frame of reference President Biden actually has about what is going on in Del Rio. I asked Jen Psaki, the press secretary, at one point if President Biden has ever been to the southern border, and she asked in his life, and I said yes, because we did spend a couple hours this morning looking. We cannot find any record of him going as president, vice president, candidate, senator, concerned citizen. She wanted to know what the deal was, and I pointed out that the president does go to visit areas where people are in need, like after a hurricane or after a wildfire, but he has not visited Del Rio. I asked why that was going to be, and she said that the events in Del Rio right now are just the result of a broken immigration system. Neil?
Wow, that's going to come back to bite him. Let's see where we go on that.
Come back to bite them. Because hurricanes, fires, floods, those are all great photo op opportunities. We can stand there with the poor people that were displaced in the fire, or the hurricane, or the flood, or the twist, or whatever it was. And we're bringing help. Dun, 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 dun. You know, the Lone Ranger is here to help. And that's a great photo op. Where things like this, people just walking across the border, aren't very good photo ops.
Hard to nail down how many migrants are staying and how many are going.
Is this an issue of not knowing, or is this an issue of a lot more people are being released into the U.S. than are being sent out?
That is certainly not the issue.
Issues at the border have been going on for most of President Biden's term. 6 months ago, he sounded like he wanted to see for himself.
Are you thinking of going to the border?
At some point I will, yes.
He still hasn't been. Ever.
Has President Biden ever been to the southern border?
In his life?
Yes. We cannot find any record of him visiting the border as president, vice president, senator, or even as a concerned citizen. Why would that be?
I can check and see when the last time or when he may have been.
Why doesn't he go down to Del Rio, Texas and see what's going on?
Peter, I think the situation at the border is the result of a broken system.
And I just checked my email while that tape was playing. We still have not heard back about any past Biden trips to the border. We also still haven't heard back about how many Haitian migrants in Texas have been sent away and how many have been released into the United States. Officials promised us that information by this afternoon. Still nothing. Brett.
And the idea, the optics of this camp are horrible. It's third world-like conditions down here. They want to get it cleared out as fast as possible. You can take a live look at our drone right now and still see the...
Look at this. Look at this. Yeah. This policy is broken. The policy of, they say there's all kinds of bridges leading in the United States with no border patrol checkpoints because all the resources down the border trying to deal with this. Tractor trailers full of God knows what are just passing through checkpoints unchecked. The cartels must be making a fortune. Yeah. The policy is broken. The immigration system is broken because they broke it. But they want to break it. That's their plan.
Size of this camp. At Saturday morning, it was about 15,000 in size. It's now down to around 6,000. Again, they are getting as many people out as they can. But again, the administration made it sound like all these people were going to be sent back to Haiti. Don't come here because you're not going to get in. You're not going to get a chance to stay. That is just not. Look, that was an interesting press conference. And you guys have been talking about Jen Psaki's comments that she doesn't believe that the migrants down here intend to stay for a long time. That's news to these folks down here. If they were to actually...
Wait a minute. Yeah, that's what she said. They're not being checked for COVID or being forced to be vaccinated because they're not going to stay here that long. Well, they spending the weekend here? You know, weekend at Bernie's? Well, let's go to Del Rio and spend the weekend. Honey, what do you think? Let's travel from Haiti and go hundreds, if not thousands of miles, spend $10,000, $12,000, our entire life savings, plus what we borrowed, just so we could be there for a few days? Are these people really that stupid, or they think we're that stupid?
Come down here and talk to them, I think they would realize that they're not traveling from halfway around the world to go on a little camping trip for a few days under this bridge and then just go back into Mexico. They intend to stay. They know under the Biden administration, if they can just step foot on U.S. soil, they will have a chance to be released into the U.S. Under this administration, catch and release has been happening ever since the Biden administration came into office. The National Border Patrol Council...
Now, look at this picture. Looks like it's from a drone. Or maybe a helicopter. At the beginning of this crisis, number 168, Pete Buttigieg, that genius, remember him that dropped out in the presidential race, Mayor Pete, was given the transportation secretary job, probably for dropping out, put a moratorium on drones, especially Fox. This so nobody could see. So Fox said, F you, and got a helicopter.
The union representing Border Patrol officers says more than 600,000 illegal immigrants have been released into the country.
And CNN's Matt Rivers, he's in Mexico right now, right across the border from Del Rio, Texas. And Matt, you are literally...
Now look at this. CNN is probably #1 cable news network that's responsible for Joe Biden being president. And they look so disgusted and shocked at what's going on. You're the guys that were the major contributors to it. Let's not kid ourselves. Watch these people. They go back and forth with takeout from Mexico. We don't have a border.
Literally watching as migrants are crossing the river behind you.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Jake. There's this rope that you can see that goes to a post on the other side here to Ciudad Acuña, Mexico, which is where we are just across from the United States. And I'll just get out of the way here, and you can see, what we're seeing here over the last few hours that we've been here are people who are actually staying in the camp in Del Rio on the other side under that international bridge.
Of mass immigration back in 2015 when he was vice president.
Now, this is Joe Biden. I'll be respectful. President Biden in 2015. Look who's sitting on his left. When Joe Biden says this, I was even shocked, and I'm not easily shocked.
President.
An unrelenting stream of immigration. Non-stop. Folks like me who were Caucasian of European descent, for the first time in 2017, will be in an absolute minority in the United States of America. Absolute minority. Fewer than 50% of the people in America from then and on will be white European stock. That's not a bad thing. That's a source of our strength.
Well, I couldn't see it. I brought the picture in a little. On President Biden's left was the current Department of Homeland Security Director. Now, picking people to come into our country for immigration purposes by their race is by definition racist. Racist. We want brown people. We want black people. It's not a bad thing that the white European stock, as he calls it. And that's how he sees people. White European stock. African stock. Latin American stock. That's the way these Democrats see people. They are blatant racists. And nobody calls them out on it. So basically what he's saying is in this picture, as you see the Haitians and others forming a makeshift camp at the U.S.-Mexican border, and this is the U.S. side, by the way. If these were all filled with white Europeans, he would have driven them out. And that is racist. The Democrats have always been racist. I was one my whole life. I used to be a local elected official Democrat. These people suck. It's not a bad thing that the majority of people now aren't white. I could care less what your color is. Do you have something to contribute to the country besides filling out a food stamp card or a Medicaid form or a housing voucher from HUD? Can you have something more to contribute than that? And then the scores of pregnant women, once he lets them on U.S. soil and they have their child, automatically U.S. citizen, which that's not what the Constitution says. I wish the Supreme Court would grow a spine and finally rule on it. If you are here unlawfully and you are not a citizen of the United States and you have a child here, that child should not be a citizen. It's insane. Absolutely insane. So here's the long and the short of it. That's been their plan from the beginning. It's been their plan since the mid-late 1960s. And they see this now as their last chance. And they're pushing their foot on the gas and they're revving it for as high as it can go. Because they're never, ever going to get an opportunity again They have the whole country in disarray from a pandemic and control the House and control the Senate and control the White House. This won't happen, and all those things together for another 50 years. And they're taking full advantage of it. And nobody can seem to stop them. I don't care what color these people are. I care about what they have to contribute. And wouldn't it be ironic, as all the ones that are let in 20 years from now, all of their children all voted Republican? We'll see. But it doesn't really matter. You pick people to come in by race. That's segregation and quotas. It's a twisted version of Jim Crow. These people are in charge, and you Biden voters put them in charge. Think about that for next time you vote. Until the next time, goodbye and good luck.